Think about the last time something truly wonderful happened to you. Maybe you watched someone you love walk across the stage to receive their diploma. Maybe a soldier came home after months away and his family ran across the airport towards him. Maybe you finally held something in your hands that you had worked years to earn. And instead of laughing, instead of cheering, instead of doing anything that made logical sense for a happy moment, your eyes filled with tears. You were not sad. In fact, you had never felt more alive. So what was happening? Here's something your brain does not want you to know. It does not actually separate happiness from sadness the way you think it does. When emotions become powerful enough, intense enough, too big to quietly contain, your brain stops caring whether they're positive or negative. It just sees one thing: overflow. And when you overflow, you cry. Both happy and sad emotions activate the same region deep inside your brain called the limbic system. Inside that system sits a tiny almond-shaped cluster of neurons called amygdala. The amygdala works like an alarm bell. It does not ring for sadness. It does not ring for joy. It rings for intensity. The moment an emotion crosses a certain threshold, the amygdala fires a signal, and your body begins preparing a response. That response, more often than you would expect, is tears. But this only is half of the story. In the 1980s, a biochemist named William Frey made a discovery that changed how scientists understood crying. He gathered and analyzed two different types of human tears. The first type came from physical irritants, things like onions or wind. The second type came from emotion. When he compared them under a microscope, they were not the same. Emotional tears contain considerably higher levels of stress hormones, specifically prolactin, and a natural painkiller called leucine and capellin, chemicals that build up inside your body during moments of extreme feeling and that your body appears to be actively trying to expel. In other words, your tears are not just an expression of emotion, they are a chemical evacuation. Your body is physically flushing out the biochemical residue of feeling too much. That is why you feel lighter after you cry. That is not just a metaphor. Something actually left your body, but there is still a deeper question. Why do we cry specifically when we are happy? Sadness makes sense. Sadness is pain. Why do we cry specifically when we are happy? When happiness does not demand any release, but joy. Joy should not need an escape valve unless happiness, the real kind, is never actually pure. Psychologists have a term for this. They call it a dual valence response. It means that the most powerful moments of our lives almost never contain just one emotion. They contain many layered on top of each other, others sometimes contradicting each other, all firing all at once. Think about what is actually happening when parents watch their child graduate. Yes, their pride, but beneath the pride there is nostalgia for how small that child once was. There is a faint ache of knowing that this chapter is ending. There is relief that the hard years paid off. There is gratitude so heavy it almost hurts. There is the ghost of every sacrifice that made this moment possible. That is not happiness. That is an entire human life compressed in a single afternoon. And when this hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for long-term memory, gets drawn into the moment and starts replaying everything that led us here. The emotional weight becomes almost impossible to hold. So the body does what the body always does when it cannot hold something anymore. It lets go. Now add one more layer. When you cry in front of other people, something shifts in the room. Research shows that people are more likely to be offered support and comfort to someone who is crying, regardless of whether those tears come from sadness or joy. Tears signal the people around you that something real just happened, that this moment matters, that you're not performing emotion, that you're experiencing it. In that sense, happy crying is also a form of communication. It says, without using a single word, that you are present, that you have been moved, that this moment reached you. Scientists also point to what happens in your nervous system during and after you cry. Crying activates your parasympathetic system, the part of your body responsible for calming you down after the spike of an intense feeling. Your heart rate slows down, your breathing deepens, the adrenaline begins to fade. Your body gradually returns to equilibrium. This process is called emotional homeostasis, and it's your body's way of saying, I got you. That was a lot. Let me bring you back down. The tears, in other words, are not the breakdown. They're the recovery. So next time you find yourself crying, at a wedding, or the finish line of something you have chased for years, or in an airport as someone you love walks back through the door, do not be embarrassed. Your brain is not confused. It knows exactly what is going on and what it's doing. It is marking the moment, releasing what cannot be held, saying it in the only language your body knows, when the words are not enough, that something here mattered. Some feelings are simply too large to fit inside a smile, and they find another way out.